Greetings, Scribblers! Kent Shawn here, and welcome back to part 3 of our exploration of the hero's journey. Today, we're going to learn all about the most common and useful character archetypes from the hero's journey. In part 1, we told you what the hero's journey is and why it's important. In part 2, we broke down the stages of the hero's journey. If you haven't seen those videos, I recommend you watch those first before moving on to this one. But before we get into it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss one pebble in our literary rock slide.
My pet rock!
For storytellers, certain character archetypes are indispensable tools of the trade. You are probably using them already without knowing it, and you pretty much can't tell a story without them. These archetypes, they're really just symbols for certain human qualities, like love, friendship, enmity, or the tendency not to put the toilet seat down.
James! Heh.
Archetype number 1, the hero. The word hero in Greek means to protect and to serve. This archetype is all about self-sacrifice and helping others. The hero is the one your audience is going to relate to, so make sure they have qualities that people can identify with. Even though it's great to give your hero powers and abilities far beyond the realm of mortal man, make sure you don't fall into the Superman trap and make them so perfect nobody can relate to him at all. Give them some flaws, some weaknesses. We also need to see our heroes change in the course of the story. One of the best ways to get people on your hero's side is to have them overcome their personal issues on the way to saving the day. The hero should be the most active person in your story. They should make decisions that change the course of events, and ultimately, they're the one that defeats the villain, overcomes the challenge, and gets the girl. Or boy. Or whatever.
Or all of the above.
Archetype number 2, the mentor. This archetype represents all those characters that teach and protect our hero, usually giving them gifts and weapons to help them on their quest. Mentors are often former heroes themselves. They've already conquered all the obstacles and flaws the hero is still struggling with. In Star Wars, Obi-Wan Kenobi has already learned to use space magic and laser sword fight, and now it's time to pass it on to Luke. Mentors also serve as motivators, helping reluctant heroes get off their ass and into the fight. Not every story needs the mentor to be some wise old man, wise old woman type. Sometimes the function of the mentor is served by several different characters the hero meets along the way. Archetype number 3, Threshold Guardians. As the hero's adventure unfolds, we're bound to hit some obstacles. Every time the hero tries to break through into some new or fantastic place, he meets up with powerful guardians that bar his way. Threshold Guardians exist to test the hero and disrupt his quest. Either our hero figures out a way through them, or reveals some flaw that must be overcome by the end of the story. In Star Wars, the mean dude in the cantina is Luke's first test as he leaves his comfy life on the moisture farm. Sometimes a Threshold Guardian isn't even a person. It can be a storm that keeps the ship from sailing, or a mountain that must be climbed before you reach the end of the journey. Archetype number 4, the Herald.
Herald who?
The Herald is essentially a messenger who shows up to drop some information bombs on our hero. In Star Wars, the Herald takes the form of a robot trash can named R2-D2, who plays a blue hologram for Luke, telling him to go find a creepy old man in the desert. The archetype of the Herald might be fulfilled by hearing a news program on the radio, like in World of Worlds. Or another character in the story can jump into the Herald's shoes anytime you need him to. One of the more interesting uses of the Herald archetype was in Field of Dreams, where the hero constantly hears a voice telling him,
"If you build it, they will come."
Archetype number 5, the Shapeshifter. The Shapeshifter's function is basically to drive the hero crazy while they try to figure them out. They can change in appearance, change their moods, and sometimes even switch sides as they keep the hero guessing. Use shapeshifters to bring doubt and suspense. Any one of your characters can take on the mantle of a shapeshifter anytime you need. In Star Wars, the usually predictable, self-centered space cowboy Han Solo pulls a complete 180 and comes back to help Luke against the Death Star. Archetype number 6, the Shadow. This archetype represents the energy of the dark side, the repressed, the rejected, the reality TV show. Shadow represents our villains, antagonists, and our straight-up enemies, and serves the purpose of providing the hero a worthy challenge to overcome. To get the Shadow right in your story, think about all the things you hate about yourself, all those dark thoughts, all those evil desires you keep bottled up inside, and let those puppies come out to play. I always tell people that writing villains is just as good as psychotherapy and a hell of a lot cheaper, so let her rip. The shadow can also be expressed in other characters besides the villain, in their doubts, fears, insecurities, and willingness to listen to John Mayer albums. Archetype number 7, the ally. Not all heroes are the lone wolf type. Some of them need a few buddies to travel with. Ally characters can serve a lot of functions in the story, but to me the most important one is how they humanize our heroes. We get to see the hero grow to care about their allies, often risking their lives to protect them. What would Batman be without Robin? What would the Lone Ranger be without Tonto? Not all allies have to be human. There are plenty of stories with animal sidekicks, from dogs to birds to Wookiees, so be creative. I don't think anybody's used a squid yet. Archetype number 8, the trickster. This archetype embodies the energy of mischief and gives us great characters and villains like Loki and the Joker. These guys are in it for the laughs and keep the hero from taking himself too seriously. Tricksters can embody any of the other archetypes as well, from heroes to allies to villains. What matters most about them is that they exist to cause change. They stir things up. In The Matrix, the trickster is the villainous double-crosser, Cypher. He is always cracking jokes at the hero's expense, and all the while plotting to kill his crewmates while they're trapped in the Matrix. So there you have it, 8 of the most common and useful character archetypes from the hero's journey. There are a buttload more archetypes in Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces, and Carl Jung wrote a lot about them in his amazing but virtually impenetrable book, Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious. If you want to understand archetypes and their roles a little better for your own writing, I highly recommend Chris Vogler's The Writer's Journey. I'll link the PDF in the description below. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. And please come visit my website, KentShawn.com. Till next time, scribblers, butts in seats, fingers on keyboards.